recorded last night.
Yeah, it's on. I just uploaded it this afternoon.
Are we
Okay.
live?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay,
Kind of
the
not in
water-
the picture, but that's okay.
This is the Mendon Water Commission meeting on March 2nd, 2023. I call the meeting to order at 7:10. Present at the meeting are Commissioners Vincent Roy, Kevin Rudden, and the guy who runs it all, Dan Byer. And first on the agenda, call to order. Second is review and consider prior meeting minutes. Dan, I understand we have no meeting minutes
No, I'll get them.
for tonight. Okay, review and consider approving bills and vouchers. Ben, there are two to sign.
Yes, sir.
While you're signing that, we have no new business. And as soon as you're done, we'll discuss the meeting that was held with the select board last night. Received a presentation from our the consultants that have been working with the town on a grant. They presented it to the select board last night, and next steps going forward were discussed. So just so you know, Vin, there was a pre-meeting the week before to review everything and go over the comments that everybody submitted. That was held the prior Wednesday, so that would have been February 22nd.
We're just the select board?
No, it was the town administrator, myself, Dan, the town planner, and the consultants.
Okay, so,
And
Good,
we
yeah,
just
no,
reviewed the fact
parties
that they
involved.
received all our changes and incorporated them.
Yeah.
And I believe what they were looking for and what the town planner was looking for out of last night's meeting with the select board was a go-ahead to go to phase 2, which was applying for more grants and starting to do testing. So since neither of us were there and you weren't there, Dan, I'm gonna have to watch the meeting to figure it out, or I'll call the town planner tomorrow.
Yeah, caller. I was going to reach out to Jack. I did have a chat with Kim after our other meeting about just in general in the study, and she basically said it went really well. She made it sound like there was plans for another meeting with all the boards to make sure that they had representation to really discuss the next steps.
So
But
that would be called by the select board?
Yeah, I don't know when, or that could be who knows from now. But
Okay.
I also got the impression from Jack that they pretty much already decided phase 2 was a go pre all this.
can I just back up? So what I reviewed about a month ago was the draft.
Right.
And so everybody commented,
Right.
and so
That
now,
300-page document that had 58 pages of text up front and then all
yeah,
the background, that was presented last night. And then there was about a 16-slide PowerPoint that we also
sure.
got a chance to look at.
And so they put together the final report, and that's what was presented.
And
last night.
they gave it last
Right.
night to the
Okay.
board. I understand the chairman of the select board invited the state rep and state senator to be there.
Brian was there. I know that.
Okay, so State Rep Brian Murray was there. I don't know if State Senator Fatman or one of his aides was there, but I know he wanted them to see the cost involved and look for continued help on this. So we'll just have to get caught up with what's going on, either through Town Planner Jack Hunter or the town administrator, or just, if I can get a hold of her tomorrow. Or whatever, and we'll find out what the next steps are. But from our perspective, at least from my perspective, very satisfied with the first report. On that call the week before, I thank the consultants for doing a thorough job, considering we were trying to do it without the resources they had.
Right, yeah.
And that once and for all, we have a very clean-cut document at this point in time that lays out all the options. And it looks like they were going to use some of the ARPA money the town's been sitting on to do the testing that's in phase 2 and go forward with what ifs.
Right.
Because there were some well drilling sites they recommended, and I think they're going to go look at them and do things like that. But we just need to find out if they're going forward. If you want, when we go during the meeting and go home, I can write a letter to the town administrator just saying, could you let us know what the next steps are, and copy Jack Hunter,
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
and copy all the board members.
Sure.
If you'd like me to do that, I'll do that when the meeting's
Please,
over.
yes.
Okay.
So there were no real recommendations to do anything with sewer because from
Well, I don't
the
know
way
how
I
they,
interpret it.
I don't know how they did on that. I mean, the recommendation, if you remember, the recommendation was that sewer was too damn expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Um,
it just boils down to cost, yeah.
There are funding operations to explore. They do have sewer in there.
I'm just looking to see if it was said anything on the slide. I know in the study, I think you're right. That was the,
Yeah, there is one thing though we need to find out very quickly. The town meeting warrant is still open, correct, Dan?
yes, till the 15th.
Okay. If the select board want to pursue sewer, we need to get an article on the annual town meeting warrant to request the state legislator to enhance our authority to include sewer. Because that takes about a year to go through. And you need a town meeting vote, then it goes to the state rep, then he files the request, and then it goes through the legislative process. So you're probably talking, if that happened, you're probably talking somewhere around September of 24 before that would be passed and signed by the governor. So it depends on what they want to do with sewer, but if they want to go ahead with looking at sewer, then my recommendation is we do that to cover the town. You can always withdraw it. You can always take it off, but right now there is no board in town legally charged with looking at sewers.
Could the select board assume that responsibility? Because I just know, Kev, that some towns in the Commonwealth, that's, the Board of Selectmen do assume that responsibility.
Well, there's two ways it can happen. I mean, they're also looking at reorganizing the highway department into a possible DPW,
Right.
and you could assign it to that. But somebody needs to be delegated to be in charge of it.
I think
whether
it should
it's
come
us
under
or highway.
under the Water Commission.
I agree.
Yeah.
We were created by special legislation in the I think it was the 40s, the creation of the Water Commission,
Under
and
the
the
Home
bill-
Rule Petition. Yeah.
the Board of Water Commissioners,
Yeah.
by the legislature. And the change bill that I drew up more than 2 years ago goes back to that original law and amends it by adding "and sewers" throughout everything, changing the name to Water and Sewer Commission and adding in charge of sewers. It's either that or you file a new bill creating a separate district.
Right.
So I
yeah.
think, that's something I need to put in that memo, which is if you're going ahead with sewers, it's time to file that, get it on the town meeting warrant.
Right.
Because you can't send it a home rule petition to the state legislature without it being approved at town meeting.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So,
I think, yeah. Okay.
having gotten several of these through for different towns,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with. So I'll include that in the memo.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't really know what's going on.
I really think sewer though. I just know because of my work in the industry. It's such a major costly undertaking. And to do both, because we don't have our own water system as well.
Well, just to tell you how it differs than water. In water would be drilling wells, getting them permitted, setting up the authority, the system, figuring out the billing mechanisms and all that. In sewer would be going to somebody else's sewer plant.
Right.
According to the proposal. And right away, just to do that, under the way the intermunicipal agreements work, especially on sewer, the abutting towns that have sewer plant, if they took federal funds, they have to accept us. But the proposal here is looking at Hopedale, the town involved has the right to charge us for any expansions they need to do, we pay for. Any connection through their town, we pay to install, and they have the right to charge us their highest rate. Just like Hopedale Water is now doing it.
Right.
So that by itself makes it more
Less
expensive
attractive, right.
than having something in your own town. And plus, if I remember, the recommendation called for 2 pumping stations. Just the electricity on running those 24 hours a day, let alone the cost of building them. I believe they had a cost of $1 million or $2 million a piece in there, which is about right.
Kev, I'll tell you, Well, on the water side, you've already got infrastructure in place. Not all the infrastructure you need. But
Some.
You've got water main in place. You'd have to put a pump station, a well, and a tank in order to kind of complete this whole water system.
And it also talked about the staff needed to run it. You're
Right.
building up a department from scratch.
Correct.
The good news
Correct.
is we have the enterprise fund.
Yeah, but wastewater, you have no wastewater infrastructure, zero wastewater infrastructure in this town.
Correct.
Just to put in a collection system,
Yes.
not even mentioning the pump station, just the pipe and manholes, it's about 4 times the cost to put that stuff in the ground
Right.
than it is a water main.
Because
There's
if
more
the
engineering
people, if the
involved.
people don't understand, on a water main, you basically dig up the ground, drop a pipe in, and there's a stub going to every house.
And you're not too worried about,
Or business.
it's gotta be so deep, but you're
Right.
not worried
With
about.
the sewer, you either have what's called a forced main where you're pumping it from here to here to here,
Correct, yeah.
but usually that's connected to gravity system. So
Right,
for
and
instance, if
gravity's
Hopedale
gotta
is
be
the
in a
system,
certain-
if Hopedale is the system, just so people at home know.
Yeah.
You'd be pumping from the drive-in up that hill. Gravity would take it downhill. You might actually have, when it hits where the sewer plant is, you might have to pay to pump it sideways to get in there, and that would be us having a pumping station in another town.
Yeah.
Typically, the way we have meters on the water system, the neighboring community would want several meters that you mutually agree on the flow, because you're paying by the gallon. And then you're paying the treatment costs. But
Now,
just to get to people.
Yeah.
To your point, you also need at just about every junction and every so many houses, you need a manhole in the road to be able to look at that pipe and clean out clogs. You need one at every T intersection. In some cases, you need a preventer pipe at the home connection, depending on the tilt of the land. You might want to, it comes out of the house when you flush, but you have a flapper on it so it doesn't go back. You have to deal with the issues of what happens during a power failure with sewer.
Yeah.
If the pumping
Emergency
station stops, and you're out of power in a hurricane for a couple of days. And I've lived through in this town, times we had a summer storm a couple of years ago. Most of the town lacked power for 3 days.
Right.
You
So any
start,
pump station, you would have to provide backup.
so you have
Right.
generators and
Right.
backup powers.
Yeah.
Where water tends to be pressure fed, as you know.
Right, well, you're right, a little bit more involved in that, yeah, you still.
I
need
know, but
electricity
I'm
pump
trying to
the water
dumb it
out of the
down.
ground. Yeah.
I'm trying to dumb it down, but typically, once you, as you know,
Once you got the elevation of the tank, it's just.
you have an
everything works by
elevation,
gravity.
you have an elevation of the tank and it's going by gravity.
Right,
And if the pipes are pressurized and all the water's flowing,
Right.
you got water.
you've
Granted,
got time where you don't have, you can,
but you're not pumping it up and down hills that much.
right.
You
yeah,
may have a booster pump here and there,
Right.
but you're not building pumping stations the
Right,
way
because
you
you've
are. in
got an
summer.
adequate supply in a tank that maintains that pressure. That's where the pressure comes from, is the water
Right.
right in the tank.
And there's other factors
Yeah.
with sewer. Quite honestly, we have water on 140 coming from Hopedale. If you look where the Hopedale sewage treatment plant is, to sewer Route 140 for business and get it to that plant.
You're gonna pump it uphill.
Well, Hopedale doesn't have sewers in that area of 140. So you'd be building it for them.
And the other thing too, I don't think Hopedale has the capacity to be a plant, so not only.
They
you're
don't.
gonna-
We'd
yeah.
be building the
Yeah, so
capacity.
not only you're gonna build a collection system, but you also need to expand that plant. Just, yeah, phenomenal cost.
And the most recent example that I can think of is when Hopkinton was adding business on South Street about a decade or two ago.
Yeah,
And Milford extended the line up Purchase Street to the Hopkinton town line. It sat vacant for a number of years. Then Hopkinton, like 15 years later, decided let's tie in for a couple of businesses. Hopkinton had to pay like $5 million in arrears. They didn't pay the interest on the borrowing, but they got state grants to pay Milford back for all the pipe being installed.
Mm.
A pumping station, and then Milford charged the highest rate.
Yeah.
And that was for 200,000 gallons a day,
it's like nothing.
which is now down to practically nothing.
But Hopedale's got a much bigger population, so they can absorb that. Hopedale's probably around, I'm gonna say Hopedale's probably around between 20 and 25,000 residents out
No.
there? More than that?
No, less.
Less?
No.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
Milford,
compared to,
Milford's 30,000 roughly.
yeah.
We're about 6 now.
I think.
Yeah.
I thought Hopedale
6,500.
was similar.
I would say
What is
Hopedale's the same size as
Hopkins has
us.
been growing a lot.
Hopkinton went up because they took all
There you go.
the nursery.
So you're saying that they're less than 20,000? Hopkinton? No, I'm saying, no.
No,
not
I'm talking
Hopedale.
Hopedale.
Okay, yeah, no, Hopedale's tiny, yeah.
Oh,
Hopedale's
no,
tiny.
Hopkinton's gotta be up there, but,
Well, yeah, okay.
yeah, I'm
I don't mean
sorry.
to throw you off track, but you mentioned
16,720.
Hopkinton, I thought. I'm sorry.
Hopedale?
Hopkinton is 16,720.
What do you got, what's Hopedale?
Okay.
Hopedale is 5,900.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, so Hopedale's like us.
But I think Hopedale has a little more commercial than we do.
They have more
'Cause
commercial, they
had
have
all the
around the
Draper
airport.
and the thing about
Yeah,
Hopedale is they
before.
basically had Draper was like the sugar daddy for all those years.
Right,
They
but when
built all
Draper
that.
went,
whatever.
the Menfrey brothers built all around the old airport. They bought the airport.
Yeah.
And all that land around there's been built up and obviously the Rosenfeld concrete plant is now earmarked for something large. But anyway,
Anyways, yeah.
you know, let's not beat the dead horse. I'll take care of that. So that leaves Dan update on the library sanitary survey.
Yeah, so that one is all set.
No issues.
Just stupid paperwork and whatever.
Okay. So the only one so far we really need to take action on is town hall.
Yeah, so the town hall, and Ken closed out a bunch of stuff. He has to do a cross connection survey of the whole property, which is no big deal. And there was some other form that, the lead and copper up, they want an updated lead and copper, that,
In this building, in these facilities here.
I can't think of the word, like submission, like you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Where you're gonna sample.
Okay.
The beach, that's what those valves are for. I gotta put a sample tap over at the park.
Yeah,
Amy installed a vacuum breaker, and so Ken ended up, they redid a emergency plan for the senior center, and
Okay.
he sent it to me, and we're gonna update it for town hall, but there's no issues, it's just paperwork stuff.
All right. So the only one that really involves extra testing that we know of is town hall.
Well, right, the sanitary survey looked at the building. The new well is still, they actually just submitted the application for the pump, like the formal application. I think this morning I saw, or yesterday I saw it go through. And they've been working on the engineering. They've been going back and forth for the treatment system. I think they're hoping they can locate the infiltration in between the buildings where it's all dug up. That should work out. It's just a
So
matter of
do
designing it.
we? Because at the meeting that I.
Yeah,
told you, we weren't-
I talked to Kim a little bit about it. So I reached out to McClure and said, listen, we need, if you can't get us a quote in the next month, we need an estimate, something to put in the budget. And she said they were talking to vendors already.
Yeah.
This is
So-
on the town hall system.
Yeah. So I'm assuming we should have
Yeah, the
something.
additional treatment cap.
And you had
I'm
said
sorry,
before,
The what treatment?
it's
Yeah, the treatment for
water, the
PFAS.
treatment for the town hall water system.
Okay. Well, again, whatever it is, we have to do it.
Right. I mean, I told Kim
So
if it
if
were
you-
me, I'd put 10 grand aside right now and maybe more.
If you need to go to a special, you need to take out a stabilization, the town has to do it.
Right, the only thing that Board of Selectmen were looking for that night was just
Right.
an estimate. Really, not just a plug-in number, but a real estimate for.
Right. Which we'll have before
From
the
the
town
vendor.
meeting.
Right.
So they can always amend it on
Right,
the
well, they
floor.
can plug it
They've
in,
got
they
till
can
May.
amend it on the floor, or,
Correct.
you can call a special in June and
Yeah.
transfer it out or whatever.
They'll have it by then. So
Yeah.
There's money in stabilization, there's money in CapEx, transfer it out. It's gotta get done. It's a health issue.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Did they work with an engineering company on, was it just a vendor on?
no, so McClure, it's McClure Engineering, that's who's doing it.
Okay,
because when we initially started this, we got bids from Whitewater and we got a bid from McClure. They do all the work at the schools.
so is it design build
McClure's-
or who actually? did the
Initially, it was a proposal to drill a new well, design, permit and drill a new well,
work? Okay,
design, all
Yeah,
that. So McClure's price was way cheaper than Whitewater. So
Okay.
that's why they went with McClure instead of just sticking Whitewater. And unfortunately, we have found with Whitewater that those projects just drag on and on and on. Although unfortunately, McClure is very busy too. It's taken a very long
right,
time.
okay,
but-
so engineering and.
So
actual
right, it
wells.
was engineering for the new well and all that. Once they did the pump test and got the test results and identified the need for treatment, Then they did a new proposal to submit the whole, because there's a whole separate permit for a treatment system now that DEP is requiring.
Right,
And that's where we're at right now, but it's McClure's doing it all.
okay,
This
So they're,
is-
they're a water engineering company.
Yeah, I mean,
They do-
the basic issue is
Yeah,
it's not
so-
coming out of our enterprise fund, it's coming out of the town budget.
right,
When it's done and installed, we own it in terms of.
correct,
ma-
yeah. It's
Maintenance,
just that they're looking to know what that dollar amount is.
right, in terms
So
of
they can
maintenance
appropriate the
and
money at
testing,
Town meeting,
then we own it, but again, it comes out of the town operating budget, not our enterprise fund.
correct, yes.
Okay, continue discussion on master meter, anything new?
No, I still have not heard any up, we've awarded the contract to Hydrotech. We're just waiting for them to schedule it. I mean, it's probably gonna have to be a little more.
Is there a time frame? Do we gotta spend this money by the end of the fiscal year?
No. Well, no, because we're paying, everything we're doing now, we're paying out of our enterprise fund. So it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but-
The meters are behind you. So that's done.
Oh, they're here.
Yeah, they're that giant.
Okay,
stack.
so the question is, though, we already paid for
Yeah, meters are bought with the state
It's
grant,
just the way.
because that was time
was-
sensitive.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now,
We're-
though, we have to pay to install.
Right, and the trade-off was we bought, instead of doing the labor, we bought some additional materials to
Right.
repair water main breaks.
Right,
Okay.
okay,
So I'll bug them again, because
Okay,
yeah, that probably, yeah.
next item is
Get that
discussion on water rates. Have we heard anything from Hopedale?
I have heard nothing other than that one message.
I saw nothing, I looked
So-
that night. Can we just look on their website to see if
I
they're
was gonna say,
advertising
yeah, they
anything?
should be,
So I
they
don't
should
think,
be buzzing us when.
right, I don't think they're anywhere near the point of a public hearing. He just was giving us a heads
Well,
up
why
that they're
don't-
discussing it.
Could you just look on the website and see if they've got anything listed?
Does he know though that to give us notification so we can kind of prepare for it?
Yes,
Okay, good.
Well, I'll reply to his email and just say, Mendon wants to make sure that, make sure we
What's
get a
under
hearing.
these
Because
notice.
there's nothing worse than being blindsided. You
Nothing
know,
new.
We're already set a rate increase and then all of a sudden.
Oh,
Hopedale's
yeah,
gonna
their
go up.
website is crap. I gotta go through a different
it's the
spot.
same vendor we have.
Yeah, but for some reason, some of these vendors, the agendas don't push through to the department pages the way ours does. And I don't really understand why. So they had a meeting, they're posted for March 9th. They met on February 9th.
What's the March 9th agenda?
I'm looking. This is the old one. The March one has open public hearing, votes may be taken, budgets and rate discussion, public comments, closed public hearing.
When is it?
March 9th, so
Why is everybody
Oh
meeting
my
on the
God,
same
that's,
night?
guess they
that's
didn't
next week.
even send us notice.
Yeah, I got
I'm not
a,
available.
I am.
That's next week.
We just scheduled a Board of Assessors meeting that
Thursday.
afternoon. So it's March 9th at when, Dan?
It says March
7
9th
o'clock?
at 6 p.m.
Oh my God, okay. Well,
Well,
thank God we're looking.
I got a 5:30 Assessors meeting. So where is it on the agenda?
That's probably why they posted it. It's first item on the agenda, 6 p.m. call to order, open meeting.
All right,
Yeah.
6 p.m. on March 9th.
And that's
I-
on the agenda for rates? On,
If I'm reading this correctly, they've posted basically a water rate hearing for March 9th.
okay.
So
All
I
right.
guess we don't get notices. It's
I'm
probably
tied up
not.
here at least until 6:30
Let me look at the contract.
for Assessors.
I'm
meeting.
having eye surgery that day.
No, you can't go.
I can't go, no.
Dan,
Frickin-
can you go?
When is it? Let me just hang on.
Or we talk to them the following day.
I can go, but I don't really know what we have to comment on. I can,
Well, you
so I
know
can
what?
dial
Well,
in.
actually, can you
If
just
the
say-
meeting's posted, because I can.
Wait a minute,
I can
he's
watch
always,
it.
he's always
Are
saying
they-
he reads
are they
our
Zoom?
agendas and
Yeah.
kibitzes us. Can we send him a note right now, Dan?
Yeah,
It just says, saw your agenda for March 9th. Is that a hearing? On water rates?
If there's Zoom meetings, I can attend.
they are Zoom meetings,
Okay.
But I just say,
and they do get filmed.
I would just say, just saw your agenda for March 9th. Is that a water rate hike? Hearing? And we get an answer.
Yeah,
Hopefully, and then you can communicate his answer to us, and then we'll figure out how I can be in two places at once.
Yeah. Well, you can always have.
I mean-
a phone, Kev.
unfortunately, we're kind of stuck. It is what it is, and we can certainly
Well, yeah, but at least if they do,
say something to them.
can you let us know immediately? Because then we have to schedule a hearing again.
Right.
Well, in the past, he's always sent us a thing saying, with at least a month or two's notice saying this is happening as of July 1.
Well, I want to know,
So,
I mean, if it happens effective April 1
If that
versus
seems
July
how they're
1, I'd
doing
like to know.
yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
happening July 1, then we have a hearing in May.
Right. But if it's gonna be effective for the next billing cycle,
Yeah.
we need to get the word out.
I mean,
And just in case anybody ever watches this, just to know, we have to match Hopedale's rates or we lose
Right.
money.
Yeah, we're at the beck and call of Hopedale, unfortunately.
the town of Mendon shall pay Hopedale the highest rate they charge. As of effective, the date is this. It may be adjusted as needed. Hopedale will notify the town of Mendon by mail of any rate changes.
Well, let them, we just want to know if that is
Yeah.
the rate hearing.
Just see if there's any.
So they've got a tiered system and they
Yeah.
charge us the top tier?
Yep.
And that's what they'd be doing in the sewer connection.
Dudley Road, they negotiated a special math thing that kind of takes it and divides it by 17. This, we got
We get
hosed.
porked. It would be to our best interest to have our own water system and just get off of Hopedale. I mean, yeah, get off of Hopedale. We get porked.
They will dance in the streets if we get off their system.
Oh, yeah, so they can expand. But yeah.
Not by
they're-
much.
They're getting porked. We're getting porked by them. Oh.
Well, yeah, but for years.
Yeah.
I mean, they could theoretically declare a special rate tier for Mendon at 3 times
They can do
anybody in
that, maybe.
Hopedale. They vote it and then bill it to us.
Says, yeah, if they have to purchase water at some emergency rate, because they did it once.
For Milford for a day.
But I don't think he just notified us. I don't think we got charged.
No, we didn't. That was the day that they broke and the DEP ordered Milford to supply them.
In the event that Hopedale purchased water outside, the town of Mendon shall pay 125% of the highest rate. Such uplift shall be applied to the entire period during when water was purchased outside, regardless of the amount purchased.
That's what it says in the agreement with Hopedale.
Yep.
125
percent.
times the highest
If
rate.
they're buying water.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing to stop them from saying, we're gonna make a new highest rate structure and only charge us.
No, like I said, we should have put it together and vote on it. Oh my God, you gotta get off that system.
Yeah, but however, the DEP ordered them to take us.
Yeah, but the poor residents like you, I guess you just.
Well, I laugh because people realize
Premium.
my quarterly bill is averaging about $230. The actual water use on that is about 50 to 70, and all the rest is the charges. The capital fee, our Hopedale's capital fee is like $50 a quarter.
Yeah.
Our capital fee is $12.50 a quarter. There's something else on there, and then you get the water use.
Oh, that's awful, Kev.
Well, you know the story of why I ran for this again. I was on back in the 90s. The reason I ran is when I bought the house on 140 with the water, I needed a new meter. I wanted to pay for the meter. It took 8 months before somebody would give the then clerk a cost for me to pay.
Oh my God.
So Hopedale had billed the town.
All right.
The town had already paid them. I wanted to reimburse
Yeah,
Mendon. Nobody knew what it cost. I said, that's it, I'm running.
yeah.
I'm trying to give you money and you won't.
Nobody.
Think
knew
about
what
that
it
for a
was,
minute. You have somebody voluntarily going to the town
Yeah.
saying, I know you owe you money. Well, the other issue you need to understand with property tax bills, if for some reason the bill doesn't show up in your mailbox, you still owe that bill whether you received it or
I
not.
knew that, yeah. I know that from excise tax and stuff like that. You can never say, well, I didn't get the bill. No.
Right.
Right.
So for instance, I own a cottage in Western Mass.
Yeah.
Because it's a second home, they have the right to charge me personal property. I didn't get a personal property bill for the first 2 quarters. I got my property tax bill. I actually called them up and I said, did you send me the personal property bill? Because I didn't get it in the mail. And they said, no, we have a glitch. You're getting it all in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
Well, it's 2 quarters.
right,
So, but at least I knew there wasn't a bill sitting out there that I owed accruing interest.
right, yeah, yes.
So,
So, and they didn't back charge your interest either
Yeah.
because they didn't get the bills out, yeah.
okay, we don't have anything else on the agenda. So the question is, Ben, do you have anything?
No, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting for,
Before that, Dan, did you have anything?
I don't think so. Just, I'm just looking at the calendar. So I think April 6th, which
I
should
was
be,
just about to say that
a
the
valid
next
date.
meeting would be April 6th, which thank God is open.
Okay.
If you are religious, it is Holy Thursday and it is Passover
yeah.
next meeting, April 6th.
or 6.
Um,
Now I will accept the motion. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. We're adjourned at 7:40.